first met Maria at the very first Go Red meeting that I ever went to, which was in April of 2010. I was 12 days out of my heart transplant surgery.
I looked at her in her mask, scared as anything, but knew that was gonna be me probably.
I was looking at her and she couldn't look at me. She kept putting her hand up.
I was nervous to even see other people that had heart disease. I was just very intimidated.
So we didn't really see each other again until I think 6 months later.
When we finally met up again, it was just chatter, 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 and our stories were so much alike.
So I've been there with her and she's been there with me ever since. And she always tells me that, you know, I'm her inspiration, but she's my inspiration too.
I first learned about my heart condition when I was 8 years old. My parents noticed I had a cough that just really wouldn't subside, so they took me in. I had a little funny sound in my heart, and so they sent me to a specialist, and they diagnosed me then with something called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is basically a disease of the heart muscle.
I was born with a congenital defect, which was called transposition of the great vessels. They had to do 3 major heart surgeries, but in doing the second surgery, they found out that I only had 1 coronary artery as well. And due to that, they didn't expect me to live long.
When I was mid-20s, I started noticing I was sick a lot. I was tired, I was fatigued, headaches, my abdomen would hurt, you know, trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And doctor after doctor said, I don't know, it's this, it's that, try this, try that. You have to go to the cardiologist as soon as possible. And I said, yeah, I'm probably due for my annual checkup. So yeah, I'll go and, you know, I'll make an appointment. He goes, no, you need to go today or tomorrow. And it needs to be a heart failure specialist. So that was kind of my first like slap in the face that my heart was failing.
Finally, on December 18th of 2009, I learned that I needed to be put on the heart transplant national waiting list. Being 29 and hearing that I had congestive heart failure was like death.
I went through the various stages. For a week or 2, I just cried and cried and cried because I was terrified. I thought heart transplant, I'd be in the hospital for months.
You know, if anything, it would just improve her life and make our time together all that much more meaningful. So it didn't take me a long time to come to terms with that.
I got told at 11 a.m. that they had a heart for me, and they were telling me that I'd be going down to surgery in an hour. They shooed everybody out of the room except for Jason and I. I remember crying and shaking so terribly badly and saying goodbye to him, because what else, you know, was there to say? And he told me, you know, you can't think like that, Keely. You can't give up. You know, it's not a goodbye, it's we'll see you in a little while. I wanted to be here, so I agreed.
I knew I was tough enough to get through that surgery. I knew I was gonna make it to the other side. I had, I guess you could say, the faith that I was gonna make it.
That 24-hour period from when we got the call on through when she got a transplant was the longest day of my life.
Well, it's been a little over a year and a half since I received my new heart, and the first year, I'm just gonna say it was hell. It's no yellow brick road.
For the first week after that was out, I couldn't really talk very well. My vocal cords were compromised. It was hard to swallow.
You go through a lot of med changes to just have them brought back. You go through rejection scares.
So there is an increased element of rejection, in other words, Mother Nature recognizing that this isn't original equipment. So we survey for that by doing a series of routine biopsies, and we go in through the internal jugular vein, which is right here, and we generally take 5 to 7 pieces to look at under the microscope.
All in all, you know, life isn't fair, and that's why I'm here. And I'm glad I'm here, and it's getting better every day.
I think more women should be involved in Go Red, because the reality is, you know, it could happen to people that we know, or it could happen to somebody. As long as people are aware, know the signs and the symptoms, and I think we can save more lives.
Well, I think women should be more aware of Go Red, and they should get involved, because they're usually caretakers. They take care of everybody in the family, and they forget about themselves. And so when something does happen to them, they brush it off.
If I can help somebody, a statistic in a research paper that helps somebody else, I'm there for it. It makes it worth what I've had to go through if I can help other people.